So we got some rather sad news regarding Serena Williams. She is out of Wimbledon after injuring her leg in a match against Aliaksandra Sasnovich. And I seen the video, Nate, and this is a very sad. It was a very sad thing to watch. So basically, Serena, she had a 3-1 lead in the first set, and then she ended up slipping, and she needed to take an injury timeout during the game's conclusion to receive treatment. And she returned to the court, but again, she wasn't moving like obviously the way Serena is used to moving. She was very limited, and it was pretty visible at that too. So she was serving in the fifth game at the center court when she lost her footing near the baseline while hitting a forehand. And again, she started wincing in pain, and she stepped, and she ended up again. She stepped gingerly between points and clearly troubled. And then after dropping that game, she took a medical timeout to try to continue playing. And you could tell she was very emotional. In the crowd, obviously, they wanted her to continue. They were cheering her on. Again, she was trying to play through the pain, Nate. But eventually she ended up dropping down to her knees because of the pain. It was just too unbearable. She couldn't continue playing. She dropped down to her knees. The chair umpire came over to check on her. And then after that, the match ended in 3-all. But because of her injury, Sasnovich is going to be advancing, and Serena Williams is now out of Wimbledon. She did not speak to the media, Nate. However, she did post on Instagram. She said, and I quote, "I was heartbroken to withdraw today after injuring my right leg. My love and gratitude are with the fans and the team who make being on center court so meaningful. Feeling the extraordinary warmth and support of the crowd today when I walked on and off the court meant the world to me." So yeah, Nate, and I do have there was a quote from her coach, Patrick Moratoglu. He said, and I quote, "Apparently the injury is at the top of her hamstring in the glute." So yeah, Nate. And then there is one more quote from Sasnovich. She said, and I quote, "Of course, I'm sad for Serena. She's a great champion. It happens sometimes in tennis, but all the best for her and her recovery." And yeah, Nate, you know what? Let me start off with this first, okay? But before I do, the source for this article is Darcy Main, ESPN.com. So I'll start off with this first. Before I say anything, I just wish Serena Williams a full recovery. Obviously, she's not going to be in this year's Olympics. We talked about that. We referenced it in the last video we made regarding Halep and Wawrinka. But yeah, Nate, I'm going to be honest with you, all right? And again, this is not a jab at Serena. Again, Serena Williams is one of my favorite tennis players of all time. She is the GOAT of tennis, in my opinion. There isn't a doubt about it. I honestly, I didn't think it was going to be a smart idea for her to continue. I don't think she should have continued. After that first one, like I understand like her trying to continue, but after the second, like come on. Like after that, I think she should have just again called it right there. Because at the end of the day, you also got to realize this too, Nate. Okay. This is the first set of Wimbledon. This is the first set, okay? This is the first set of this matchup in Wimbledon. You still have another 2 sets to go. Or excuse me, maybe one more set if again you win 2 out of 3. But again, you still have another set to go. Okay? And tennis can go on. We talked about it. Tennis can go on for as long as it needs to go on. So obviously, like she's very it's visible that she's having trouble moving because of the injury. Obviously, you're not moving as fast as you would like to move. And not only that, your opponent's at the top of her game. This wasn't going to end well for Serena Williams. Now, again, is it possible her playing as long as she did instead of her, again, probably deciding to call it before what she did? Is it possible that she could have hurt herself even more? Yes, absolutely. Because again, you're putting more pressure on that injury. But I understand it. Again, I understand if you try to fight through it. And again, I give her credit to trying to fight through it. But at the end of the day, Nate, I feel like she should have just stopped where it was, okay? Because I'm gonna be honest, the way she was moving, there was no way she was gonna win that match. And I know she ended up getting a point. Like I know she ended up getting a couple of points here and there, but overall, Nate, I could not see her winning this match. And on top of that, this was, I believe, still first set, which means you had another set to go. So you would have had to deal with this injury even more. You know what I'm saying? Like this, it just wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been a good sight for Serena. I think she should have called it before what she did. If Sasnovich ended up winning that first set, she would have had to go another 2 more sets because you need to win 2 out of 3. That's the way it works. So she would have had to go another 2 sets, which again would have been worse for her. I'm glad that she did call it, but I felt like she should have called it earlier than what she did. Now, obviously, Wimbledon, she's out of that. And not only that, she's not going to be at the Olympics. So that gives her plenty of time to recover. And I do wish her a full recovery, Nate. And overall, Nate, looking at Serena Williams recently, she's been so close to winning it, like winning the big one, but she can't win it. For some reason, she hasn't been able to win it, and again, she's chasing it, she's trying to chase her 24th Grand Slam, but she's been close to doing it, but she just can't seem to get it, and I'm glad that she's still persistent in trying to grab it. That is a huge accomplishment right there. What I was saying, I'm glad that she's trying to chase it, but she always seems so close to doing it, and she can never get it. Recently that's the way it's been. But overall, Nate, she's not going to be at the Olympics. She's taking the rest of Wimbledon off. She's out for Wimbledon. So it gives her plenty of time to recover for whatever tournament might be next for her. Overall, I do wish her the best of luck, but I feel like she should have stopped it earlier than what she did.
Yeah, best of luck to Serena Williams and a speedy recovery. Yeah, you can't fight injuries like that, man. You just can't, especially in a sport, and especially a sport like tennis. You know what I mean? Like where you need your legs, you need your hips, you basically need your entire body. I mean, that's the case with all sports, really. But like you can't fight an injury like that. It's just can't. You can't. And I know there are some instances where some players get injured, but they're under like some, especially like me, the way I injured my knee. I was under such a high adrenaline level when I came down and I bent my knee back. That's how I ended up hurting it. But I was under such a high adrenaline level that I never felt it. So I just continued playing without realizing what I did.
Right. And in her case,
and I woke up the next morning, it was absolutely painful.
Right. But in her case, this was different because she definitely felt it. You could see it. You could just see her face. You could see like the movement in her. She definitely felt it.
Right. But I mentioned that because there are instances where that does happen. And it's it's a lot more common than you realize, believe it or not.
Right.
But yeah, you can't play through injuries like that, man. Like I know I kind of sound like a hypocrite because I did it, but again, I never felt it. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a complicated situation when it comes to adrenaline levels. But yeah, I mean, it's take my word for it, man. Don't fight through injuries because Father Time he ain't nice. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. And I can understand the first time, she was like limping a little bit. I can understand the first time being like, let me try to power through it. But the second time when it clearly was affecting her and like, you could see her, like she was emotional, she was crying. When you see that, that's when like, look, call it off. She tried fighting through it, but the second time, I feel like you should have called it.
Even in the first time, I would call it off. Because you also got to remember, Serena is getting up there in age.
Agree.
And the older you get as an athlete, the more prone to injury you are. Unless if you're Tom Brady and somehow just, you stay healthy for pretty much your entire career. But nobody's going to be another Tom Brady. Let's admit that. But, like, you get my point. It's like when you're up there in age, like, even the first time I would have just been like, I got to stop. I don't know the extent of this. I don't want to test it either. That could just be me being the play it safe guy, but that's just my advice. Don't test the injury. Don't. That's the worst thing you could possibly do is test. You know what I mean? So that's just my advice. And overall, I do wish Serena Williams the best of luck. I do wish for her a speedy recovery. Again, she's taking off the rest of Wimbledon and the Olympics. So I do wish her the best of luck. I don't know when the next time she'll appear, so hopefully she does soon. And we'll just see what happens moving forward.